Well, hi guys and gals, it's me, George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man, and I've just come in from plowing snow. What else do you plow around here this time of the year? You probably can't see it because it's all white out, but my Yard King performance tractor with a 20 horsepower V-twin and the plow set up on the front does the job pretty well, but I noticed that it was starting to slow down, and when I was coming uphill it didn't want to go, and that's without pushing any snow. And I know that I have a leak in the transaxle, and I just haven't had time to mess with it, so I'm going to put some fluid in it. And these were not made for maintenance, but there is a plug right in the top of the transaxle, just like that. It's a rubber plug, and we have to pull that out, and before I do that I need to blow the dirt out from around there, because I don't want to get any more dirt in there than I need. And I'm already going to be fighting against the dirt that's out here, because I had a bag of sand on the back, and yeah. So, before we get started, I'm going to tell you the necessities that you need to do this job. I have pulled the battery out, and it comes out with the tray, just like that right there. And if you're going to be tackling this, I'm sure you can manage to figure that part out for yourself. But then we are going to need some oil to put in, and these take motorcycle oil, but notice on the bottom there it says that it's superior wet clutch protection, and that's why we're putting this in there. It's used for wet clutches. Now, to get that plug out of there, we need a specialty tool, and you probably got one of these. This was a Torx originally. Let me get my hand behind there so it'll focus. See that? And all I did, this was a junk one, and it was already stripped, so I just ground the end off, but I didn't grind it to a point. I want it to be dull. And then to be able to pull the plug out, I'm going to need to get something underneath there to pry it up. Because see, you have to push down with this to stretch that rubber plug, and then you got to get underneath it with this to pull it out. And you got to push down and pull it at the same time, don't you know? And then when it comes time to push, to put the fluid in, I've already put some of that oil into this plastic container with a spout on it, but it has a very, very small hole down in there. And my funnel has too big of an end. This is the smallest one. So I have made a dinky funnel out of an old fuel filter. And I just cut one end of it off, took the filter out, and I have this little dinky fitting which will go right down in there. And then I will put this bigger funnel in it, and then I can just squirt the oil right down in here. There, I couldn't find any specifications, say that fast, as to how much oil this actually takes, and there's no way of knowing exactly how much you're putting in there, so I am just going to put in a little bit, probably not even this full amount here. If you look back in the video, I actually pulled this transaxle out before and cleaned it and filled it with fluid then. And the recommended thing that I found from somebody else doing this was to fill it about half full, but I can't tell when it's half full now. So I'm going to blow this off, get it clean down in there, and then we'll get to it. Okay, don't be foolish. Don't try to do it without doing the whole job right. You're going to want to take that pulley and fan out of the way. I tried doing it without it and you just couldn't get in there. I've already broken it loose, so I can just rotate this out of there. It's 11/16 socket, does the job. And if you use a long-handled ratchet and an extension, you can crank on that puppy, and it's not a big deal. And can't get that washer off without taking your glove off. You might not be able to take it off with your glove off. There we go. So now all I gotta do is pop that up off of there. That might be easier said than done too. There we go. There's not a lot of torque on it, tension. So you can pop it up out of there, and you don't have to take it off the belt if you don't want to, but it might be easier, and that's what I'm going to do. I like to do things as easy as possible, and sometimes I try to do it the quickest way, and it doesn't always get done the easiest way if you're trying to do it the quickest way. So anyway, you can pull that pulley right up and out of there. See that? There it is. Now we have a clear shot down in there. Now we're going to take our push thing and stick it right down in the hole like that. But what I got to do is I got to get something to pry up while I push down. And there ain't enough room for you and me together down in there, so I'm going to shut you off, move you out of the way, and I'll pop it out and I'll show you what we got. And even being careful, I still punctured a hole into the end of it, but it's not a problem. It'll still be sealed well enough because there's no pressure on it. Okay, I think I can use this bottle and go right down in there and fill it right down in there, just like this. And it's pretty cold. It's only like 26 degrees out here, so the oil is pretty thick. And with a small spout like that, oh, actually it's cold enough. I probably don't even need that little funnel down in there. I could probably just stick the nozzle of the bottle down there. But you get the idea, and then it's just a matter of putting it back together, put the plug back in, and to put the plug back in, you just take this puppy and you push on it, and what it does, it stretches it out, and you can see what's going to happen. It's going to stretch it out like that, and it's got holes on both sides. Probably need to get a new plug one of these days, but not today. And I've had to do this 2 or 3 times since I owned the tractor. And this was a freebie tractor. That was the problem with it when I got it. It had no fluid in it. And so we took it off and found out where the plugs were, filled up the gear oil and this, put it all back together. I've been using it now for three or 4 seasons. So there you go. That's how you fill it. Hope it helps you, somebody. And I just plowed this morning, as I said. Tomorrow or tonight into tomorrow, we're expecting another 9 inches of snow. So I had to get this done today, cold weather or not. I put that whole bottle in, and it's still not full to overflowing, but that's more than enough to get it back to where it needed to be to keep me going. So there is the solution to my ruined plug that had the hole in it. This is an expansion nut, rubber expansion nut. You run the screw down inside it and it sucks it up. and they look like this. The one on the left is too big, the one on the right is the right size, but I chose to use the one that had the larger flange on it. That's the only difference between this one here and the one that's down in there. It just has a larger flange on the top. So that should do the trick, and that'll make it easier to get out next time. That's an 832, just in case you're wondering. Let's get this thing back together and working. There you have it. Working good.